Good morning everyone. Today, I will discuss about the essence and varieties of law. But before that, ato asang i-recap kung unsa ang na-discuss last sa ako ang group members. The first is the Aristotelian being and becoming. So ang being mo na siya ang actual state, ang becoming mao na siya ang the process sa change to actual. Aristotle is ni propose siya og four concepts nga nag-provide on understanding on any particular being under consideration. So, ang katong upat ka causes, we have the material cause, mao na sila ang physical matter, while ang formal cause, mao na sila ang mga katong shape, structure, form. Dayon ang efficient, mao na sila ang katong agent or force. Dayon ang final cause man siya ang katong purpose or goal that a being serves. Then the next one is we have the natural law. So ang natural law, dili ni siya created by society. Like it is your natural inherent moral principles nga mao ginayang buhaton naturally. So another topic is in common with other beings. So mao ni siya ang a desire to preserve one's own being. Then the next one is the in common with other animals. So diri ang kaning human and animals nag-share sila og natural instincts or reproduction. Dayon ta sa uniquely human, mo sila ang the ability to think, reason, and make moral choices beyond instinct, unlike animals nga mo-decide between right based on ethics and values. This time, magtakol na po ta sa essence and varieties of law. So when we talk about essence of something, we are trying to get its core nature, its fundamental identity, what makes it what it is. It is like identifying the defining characteristics that distinguish it from everything else. Like for example, moingon ta sa chair. So, ang essence sa chair is to support someone to sit on, to provide a seat, no? So, ang chair, it could be made from wood, metal, or plastic. Pero ang core function gid sa chair is naay malingkuran ang usa ka tawo. So that works the same when we talk about the essence of law. We have these four words: the reason, action, common good, and law are words that linked together to define the essence of law. So the first one, we have the reason. So, as rational beings, we have free will. Free will, yes. Naatay ato ang kaugalingong will. You can decide kanang will nimo unsa ay imong suoton. You decide what to eat, unsa ang imong sulobon anang adlaw, everything. So, like you have the freedom. Like for example, manlaag mo sa imong friends. Yes, pwede na nimo mabuhat. However, through our capacity for reason, we are able to judge between possibilities and to choose to direct our actions in one way or the other. So, maingon kag manlaag mo sa imong friends, pero tungod sa imong reason, naka-decide ka nga sakto baka na nga buhaton ang manlaag bisag na ay klase. It is like thinking logically kung unsa gid ang sakto og sayop nga buhaton. The next one, we have the action. So our actions are directed toward attaining ends or goods that we desire. So for example, sa action, nagbuhat kag project. So nganong gabuhat man kag project? Para makapas, di ba? Para dagko og grado or dili mahagbong. Another is we study. For example, na upcoming test. So mag-study jud ta niya. Nganong mag-study man? Para in order for us to learn. Another example is kanang your mother bakes, like example cupcake. So your mother bakes in order to come up with some cookies, like for example, no? Or pwede rasad, it can be simple as the fact that your brother play basketball because he enjoy doing so. So those are goods and we act in a certain way to pursue them. So goods are sometimes referred to as the ends of actions. Now, there are many possible desirable ends or goods, and we act in such ways nga ato silang pursue. Pero, just because nga ato ang tanaw is good na siya and is therefore desirable, does not necessarily mean nga good jud na siya. Dapat, it is possible to first suppose that something is good only to realize later that doing so was a mistake. So, importante gid ang reason nga to always be part of the process. Kay, as what I have said earlier, ang reason manggod, makahibaw ta, we are able to think logically kung unsa ang mas maayong buhaton. And acts are rightly directed toward their ends by reason. So, in thinking about what is good for us, no, it is also quite possible that we end up thinking exclusively of our own good. So, dili lang ato ang kaugalingon ang atong huna-hunaon. As Aquinas believed that this will not do. We cannot simply act in pursuit of our own ends or good without any regard for other people's ends or good. So, dili lang ang ato ang kaugalingon ang atong huna-hunaon, as we are not isolated beings, but beings who belong to a community. Kay dili ra biya kita ang nagpuyo ra ani nga lugar, di ba? Nabilong ta sa community. And since we belong to a community, need sad nato i-consider kung unsa ang ikaayo sa community as well as ang our own good. And this can be called as the common good. So, ang common good, we consider what is good for the community as well as our own good. No, so dili lang ato ang kagalingon ang atong hunahunaon, kundi ang community po. So that is what we call the common good. So what exactly the common good is might not always be easy to determine, as naa jud daghang mga variables nga need na to i-consider as an individual living in a society. So we must consider not just our own good but also that of others. Dili lang ta mo dali-dali og buhat, kay dapat naagi mga limit, no? There naadjud na some kind of measure of our acts. Since naa man tay free will, dili tanan butang nga pwede natong buhaton, no? It is good for us to not simply be free to act in whatever we like. Dapat i-recognize nato ang proper measure or the limits sa ato ang paggabuhaton that would allow us to direct our acts in such a way that we can pursue ends. Ang tawag dayan ng ang determination sa ato ang proper measure sa atong acts is referred to as a law. Yes, so as what I have mentioned earlier, ang law mao gid na ang rules or regulations made by a government, gibuhat sa mga gobyerno, no, that states how people may and may not behave in society and in business. So ang law, kung way law, gubot yun ang ato ang community, ang ato ang lugar. And according to Aquinas, he defined law as an ordinance of reason for the common good made by him who has care of the community and promulgated. So, ang law, it is based on the reason. Dili lang gitabian na dayon, i-promulgate na yun na nila dili. So, ilahagi nang i-base na sa lahang reason. Ilahagi na ang mga governing body.
So, kung maingon ta og eternal law, mura ba ta siya o kanang purpose, kanang gisunod na gid siya ba? Kung unsa gid ang iyang purpose sa kalibutan, like ihimo siya,
like
niya
for
mao ra pud
example,
iyahang
we
padulungan,
can
like
think
wa
of
tay mahimo
traffic
anak kay mao
rules.
gid na
So,
ang iyahang
ang
purpose na
motorist,
naka-instill gid sa iya,
kanang mga
diha gid
motorists, no,
siya
cannot
padulong.
just drive in any way he likes, but must respect traffic rules. Pero ang kaning these rules seem to measure or place a limit into his driving. For example, kanang pag-place na to og maximum speed, kanang dili pagpakusog og dagan. Kay unsa man ang mahitabo kung magpakusog og dagan, like wala kay disiplina as a driver, wala kay disiplina sa imong kaugalingon, pwede ka makadisgrasya sa laing tao. So dapat jud maghinahinay lang og putangan na to og maximum speed. So with that, such a limit or such a rule is something good for both him and for others, as makatabang na siya to prevent motor accidents. And as Aquinas puts it, the law must regard properly the relationship to universal happiness. So a law, therefore, concerned with the common good. This time, we'll move on to the varieties of law. Sa naay nagkanalain nga mga law, we have the eternal law, natural law, human law, and divine law. So ang eternal law, this refers to what God wills for creation, how each participant in it is intended to return to Him. Ang eternal law di ay mo siya ang divine reason or plan of God that governs all creation. Marabot na siya ang blueprint for the universe, the inherent order and purpose that God has instilled in everything. We can fully grasp it, but we can recognize its presence in the natural world and in our own moral intuitions. Like for example, the law of physics, diba? Like gravity, mo na siya ang example sa eternal law. Nganuman, it is because these laws are not created by humans, they are inherent in the universe and govern how everything interacts. Mura bitaog, it has always been and will always be. The next one, we have the natural law. It is derived from eternal law. It is the inherent principles that guide human behavior. So this is the law that we can discern by reason. It is based on our human nature. Muna sila ang mga set of principles nga nag-guide nato towards what is good and away from what is evil. It is like a compass, no, helping us navigate the moral landscape. Like for example, kanang ato ang natural inclination. As a mother nga protektahan ang imong children, muna sila ang example of natural law. Kay ang natural law mong God, it is not something we learn, pero mo na sila ang ato ang innate nato siya to our human nature. The next one is the human law. This refers to all instances wherein human beings construct and enforce laws in their community. So mo na siya ang mga law nga gibuhat sa humans, that humans create to govern society. It's based on the principles of natural law, but more specific gini siya, no, and tailored to the needs of a particular community or culture. Kanipod siya nagpromote po siya og common good o mag-maintain og order. Like for example, sa mga traffic laws, they are based on the principle of para protect sa mga tao from harm, para ma-avoid ang mga accidents, mga mga traffic laws. The next one is the divine law. It is revealed by God through scripture, particularly the Bible. So this is the law that God reveals to humans through scripture, prophets, or other means. It is the specific guidance that God gives us to help us live a holy and virtuous life. So, ang divine law, for example, niya is ang the 10 Commandments. They are not derived from human reason, but they are a direct revelation from God. So, para mas masabtan na to ang upat ka law, So, ang eternal law, mo na sila ang blueprint of the universe, God's grand design. Ang natural law, it is the compass that guides us toward the good. And then, ang human law, it is the rules we create to live together peacefully. And ang divine law, it is the God's specific instructions for a holy life. And by understanding these four laws and their interconnections, we can gain a deeper understanding of Aquina's ethical framework and how it applies to our own moral decision making. So,